Hey guys, it's Pastor Jordan here, and the other day, I heard at one of our movie nights for the whole church, Kristen and Amber and Cece, they were kind of joking around about this part of the night. And you know, instead of me just saying, welcome to rStudents Online, here's a few bloopers of them trying to say welcome.
Oh, frick. Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm Amber. I'm Cece. Welcome to rStudent. Wait, Kristen!
Put the paper down.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I want to see your face. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, it's Kristen. Welcome to rStudents Online.
All right, now be more excited about
Darn it!
it. More excited.
I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, you can. 2, 1.
Okay. Hey, it's Kristen. Welcome to rStudents Online. Better?
No.
Darn it!
3, 2. Hey, Kristen.
I'm sorry. Okay.
2.
Are we doing it? Yeah. I got it.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, it's Kristen, and welcome to rStudents Online.
Girl, give me something.
I don't know how you do this every week.
Yeah, neither do I. All right, now 3, 2, 1.
Hey, it's Kristen. Welcome to rStudents Online.
Hey guys, it is Pastor Jordan here, and for this week's Say Yes Challenge, we're doing another Try Not to Laugh challenge. I think this was the very first challenge that we ever did for rStudents Online, and when we did that, Mr. Jake is actually the one who took that challenge, and he did really well. I think he only cracked about maybe a time and a half. So I'm going to see if I can keep it stoic and beat Mr. Jake and his record this week. And because most of you have already started school yesterday, actually, this week it's going to be themed back to school and school fails for the Try Not to Laugh. So let's watch and let's get started. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. Nope. Backpack gauntlet. Son.
Okay. Look, I'm going
You
to
just pulled that right from underneath her.
stop.
Dang it! Clown. No. The clown scaring the kids on the bus. Oh no. Alright, turn to the left, Jordan. I'm not gonna lie, every single time I preach, I feel like I'm gonna get classic money. Running into each other. Aw, Dad's being all sweet. And the girl's not about it.
I was on video.
Oh, she's falling. Oh, hey, that's what you get when your dad's trying to be nice and sweet to you, and you just flat out reject him. What's she got? It's a snake. Dang it! Alright, pro tip, if you find a snake and do that to Pastor Adam, the same reaction. He hates snakes.
You guys are nailing
I think I broke 3 times so far. Oh, one of them's falling in the pool.
Oh, yeah.
Stoic. I ain't laughing at that.
Don't ever scare me. Don't ever do that. I will kill you.
she'd have to kill you.
Teachers on the last day of school be like,
Get it, my guy. My question is, why isn't the rest of them actually following the leader? They should be doing the same thing. Let's go. Get it. You be you.
All right, it is Thursday, January 16th. It is time for another weekly video update. A couple of big things coming up tomorrow and the next day through Google Drive to you. And I would like to have meetings with the staff that I've already sent out. Those things is the first day.
If somebody doesn't do this while school is online, I'm gonna have to
send you individually tomorrow and making sure you get the chain of this.
Send me
also considering a pretty big change here at Lisbon Schools in terms of
moving on to your teachers.
upping our graduation requirements for kids. Of the 43 kids in the current senior.
It'd be funny though.
They were treated badly and they were abused until we found them. And they are happy again. They still need a loving home. So please. What the heck, Dad?
It was his dad. Parents, if any of you are watching this, please do that to your kids. Did she expect anything else when she blows into a straw in a beaker?
I love you. Have a great day.
Love you guys.
Gotta watch where you're going.
Hey Gav. Can you get this note?
There ain't nobody else at that school, boy. You've been pranked.
Happy April Fool's Day.
Don't do this. This is bad.
Stop talking. Oh my God! You know what day it is today?
Oh, it's April Fool's.
Yes, it is.
Dang it! That's 4. It's 4 times. Okay. Alright, I would do
Love
this
you,
so
Braxton.
much if I was a
Hey,
teacher.
Braxton, when you get up there, when you get up on the steps, smile at me and wave. Stand it going. Go on. Love you, buddy. Have a good day. Have a good first day. Love you. Oh. Your book bag's too heavy. It's all right. Stand up.
Don't do that.
Shut up.
All I can think of,
Oh,
we
it's
have
his
like 5 of those T-Rex costumes at the church. Swing and a miss. I'm still hung up on that T-Rex. I'm doing that to somebody this year. I'm doing it. That woman was a no, dang! That woman was a horrible driver. Okay, so I think it was 5 times. I broke 5 times. All right. Well, hey, Mr. Jake, looks like you are the reigning champion for Try Not to Laugh. I just can't keep it in. Apparently, you only broke 1.5 times. I think is what it was. I broke 5. So well done, well done. Let me know down in the comments how many times you guys broke, how many times you guys laughed, and see if any of you guys beat me.
Sometimes on this journey, I get lost in my mistakes. What looks to me like weakness is a canvas for your strength. And my story isn't over, my story's just begun. And failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. Yeah, failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. if the story isn't good. And failure's never final when the Father's in the room. And failure's never final when the Father's in the room. Ooh, lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, you're in the Father's house. Yeah. You're in the Father's house. Yeah. Prodigals come home, the helpless find hope. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Prison doors swing wide, the dead come to life. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Miracles take place, the cynical find faith, and love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Jericho walls are breaking, strongholds now are shaking. Love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. I said, love is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Ooh, lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, you're in the Father's house. Yeah. Lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door. Welcome anymore. Ooh, you're in the Father's house.
Hey guys, I am so excited for tonight because we're starting a brand new series called This or That. And by now in your school careers, you've probably talked a lot about measuring systems. So over in Europe, there is this measuring system called the metric system. And it uses things like meters and liters to measure different things like weight and distance and so much more. But here in America, we use a system called the imperial system, which is what you're familiar with, the teaspoons, tablespoons, miles, and all of those other measurements. And honestly, if I had to pick between the two, I wish we used the metric system because it's based off tens and it just makes things so much easier. There's 10 meters in a decameter and 10 decameters in a kilometer. It just makes so much more sense than there's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon and 2 quarts in a gallon. I hope that's right. And 5,280 feet in a mile. I don't know if I'm smarter than a 5th grader or not because those could be wrong. But that's not the point. And even though Europe and America have different systems to measure things, there's one system that I feel like all of humanity uses to measure, and that's comparison. You've probably heard of that word before, right? Comparison is simply when we measure something about ourselves against something about somebody else. We take this about ourselves and compare it to that about someone else. You think this pair of Crocs is really cool and awesome until you look at literally any other shoe that any other human being is wearing and you realize that this Croc's not that cool anymore. Or you think that the grade you got on this test is really good and then you see what your friend a couple rows over got and maybe you didn't do so hot compared to them. Or maybe you think the guy that you're dating is real cute until you see the guy your teammate is dating, and then maybe not so much. But you see what I mean. Comparison is the way we measure this in our lives against that in someone else's life, and affects more of our lives than I think any of us actually realize. But here's the thing about comparison. It can lead us to believe different things that just aren't true about ourselves and others. When we compare ourselves to others, we can start to believe that their lives are better than ours in some way because they have so many followers on Instagram, or they made the game-winning shot, or they got to take that girl to the school dance, or maybe they have more friends than we could ever even dream of having. Their lives are pretty much perfect. They have everything they could ever want and everything that we want. And because of that, we assume their lives are amazing, even though we may know that it's not true because nobody's life is actually perfect. The comparison still leaves us feeling like our this will never measure up to their that. And when that happens, well, some of us, the comparison leads to disappointment. We're disappointed that we don't have what they have. We wonder why they got to have the cool new house or the starting spot on the team, or why they get to have the happy family. We think, why not me? And the more we compare, the more we're disappointed with what's actually in front of us. Others of us, we get frustrated. Simply put, we don't think it's fair. But don't we deserve to have the cool stuff, the big friend group, or the starring role in the school play? The fact that someone else has what we want is just not fair. It's just not. Or maybe for you, the feelings of comparison brings you to hopelessness. Not only do you see someone else having everything that you want, but you feel like you won't ever have it. No matter what you do or how hard you try, you'll never be able to actually reach the goal that you want. Or maybe comparison motivates you. Instead of giving up, you decide to try harder, you push faster, do whatever you have to do to get from point A to point B. And while motivation and hard work aren't bad things, when it's comparison that's fueling it, it's not gonna work out. Maybe when you compare yourself to others, you actually feel pretty good about yourself. You might even think that you're better than they are, that you're more deserving of what you have than they could ever be anyway, right? You might look down on others because you feel like your life looks pretty good compared to theirs. But regardless of how comparison makes you feel about yourself or others, here's the thing that's true. It never takes you anywhere. Because as soon as you reach what you're going for, as soon as you get the comparison, you said, they have that, I want it, and you finally get it, there's something else to compare to. It's never enough. The cycle never ends, and you end up struggling with those same feelings of disappointment, frustration, hopelessness, and more all over again. I don't know about you, but I'm sure there has to be a better way. And in fact, there is. There is a better way, a way that doesn't leave us stuck in a cycle of comparison. And that way we can find in the Bible. The passage we're going to look at today was written by a guy named Paul. And Paul was a leader at the start of the Christian faith that really helped spread the gospel. And he wrote letters to different churches in different areas. And in the letters we're going to look at today, Paul was addressing issues born out of comparison to a group in a church named Corinth. Here's what he said. In 2 Corinthians 10:12, it says this: Oh, don't worry. We wouldn't dare say that we are as wonderful as these other men who tell you how important they are, but they are only comparing themselves with each other, using themselves as the standard of measurement. How ignorant. Even though Paul was specifically talking to a specific group of people who are bragging about their spirituality and were false teachers, the same truth applies to us today. Basically, Paul was saying, hey guys, so this whole comparison thing, it sucks. It's not going to work out. Just avoid it. Don't do it. And why? Well, because I think what Paul wanted us to know was that when we compare ourselves to each other, we're using the wrong measurement. When we hold our real life up to somebody's social media, or when we compare what our family looks like to what their family looks like, or when we look at what we have compared to what somebody else has, we'll always end up on the losing end. And that's because we're looking at it in the wrong place. And I know that it's true not only because of the way comparison makes us feel, but because of something else that Paul says just a few verses later in the same book. In 2 Corinthians 10:18, it says, when people commend or compliment and praise themselves, it doesn't count for much. The important thing is for the Lord to commend them. It's not about how we measure up to other people. It's not about how our this stands against their that. As Paul said, that just doesn't count for much. But what does count is this, how God sees us. That is our standard, the place that we can look to see how we measure up. And the good news is this, God doesn't compare you to others. And how do I know? Well, it's easy. It's because of Jesus. We can look at the way Jesus treated people while he was here on earth as proof about how God sees us today. Jesus didn't rank the people around him from best to worst. He didn't compare one single person to his own actual perfection. Instead, he turned the whole system upside down, basing the way he sees all people on one thing and one thing only: God's love. See, God isn't using the people around you as some sort of measuring stick to determine your worth or your value. Instead, he's simply looking at you through his eyes. He's seeing your life through his love, and in that place you will always measure up. So since this is true, that God doesn't compare you to others, then what can we do to stop comparing ourselves? Well, there's just one more truth that I want to tell you guys about today, and I think it can help. It's some wisdom that's found in the book of Proverbs, and it can give us an idea of where we can start. It's found in Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Comparison starts in the heart. It starts because something in us feels like it's unhappy with this in our lives. And when we see it compared to that in somebody else's life, we just start to crumble. So if we want to avoid that feeling, we have to stop it where it starts, in our hearts. As the proverb says, we have to guard our hearts. So here are some ways that you can start to help guard your heart. Number one, pay attention to your feelings. Now, I want to say this before I go any further. Feelings can often lie to us. They can say that one thing is true and I feel depressed and I feel lonely and I feel unloved and unworthy. But they're lying to us because all of those things they're just not true. Scripture and the standard that God measures us with is his love. He loves you. You are worthy. You do have value. You are good enough. But our feelings try to lie to us. And what we have to do is not let our feelings dictate our truth, but we can definitely use our feelings as guidelines and signposts that tell us if there's something going wrong inside of us. So when we start to feel lonely and depressed and frustrated and anxious, although we know that that's not the truth of who we are, we can say there's something wrong going inside and I have to deal with it. And then once you pay attention to your feelings and see that there's something going on, you have to find out what's fueling those feelings. What are you looking at, thinking about, or doing when you start to feel those things? What's fueling your negative feelings of comparison? Is it a post on social media? Is it a TV show? Is it a friend group or a circumstance that you wish was different in your life? If it's something that you can control, take a step away from it. Close that app, turn off the TV, take a break from the friend group if you have to. Take a step to guard your heart from the things that cause you to compare. And if it's something you can't control, talk to someone about it. Maybe you're unhappy with something about your home life, or have a friend you're jealous of, or you wish you had gotten the top spot on your team. Things like that can cause you to start to compare. And third, celebrate what you do have. Instead of filling your heart with comparison, fill it with acknowledgement of the things that you do have, the things that you are thankful for, the things that you like about yourself and about your life. Again, the way God sees you is the best place to start. Make a list of the ways he sees you. Send an encouraging text to someone you appreciate, or write down all the things you're grateful for in your life. And when you're tempted to compare and to look at your life in a negative light, pull out that list, look at those texts, and then fill yourself up with gratitude about what you do have. And there's no room for comparison to take hold. And remember, God doesn't compare you with others. And if you're sitting there thinking that you're the only one that struggles with comparing yourself to others, that's not true. Every single one of us struggles with comparison in some way in our lives, including myself. And the good thing is, we don't have to struggle alone. That's what all of us here at rStudents is for. We're a community, we're a family to encourage each other and build each other up. Let's pray. Papa, I just praise you. I glorify you. I thank you for your word. I thank you for the wisdom that it brings us. God, I ask that when any feelings of comparison start to rise up inside of us and into our hearts, that you allow us to have the discernment, and you allow us to notice what's happening before it gets to a point where it actually causes damage. I just ask that you allow us to be at peace with who we are, who you've created us to be, and God, just the comfort that comes with knowing that you're going to provide each and every single one of our needs. In your precious name, amen. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys again next week. For reals though, Jake, those crickets outside with nobody in this room, it just makes me feel like all the students, they're just crickets. Oh, thanks. All right.